Hello, hello, hello. Why aren't we muted? There we go. Now that was a bit strange. Didn't want to go live for a second there.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. I'm Alex, not to be confused with Alec. And this is Cheeto to my left or to my right. I don't know. Yeah. Either way, hello everybody. Alec isn't here just yet. We don't know exactly where he is. He's gone AWOL. He's not answering messages. We don't know if he's coming or not. So if you were hoping to see Alec, sorry. It's just me and Cheeto right now.
It's okay. We're enough. We're enough.
I think we can carry this to our loyal fan base. Thank you, both of you. What do you want to talk about today? I was talking about maybe music, but you're not such a music person, so.
Just, I mean, when you talk about music in a certain movie, I'm like, I like all of Star Trek music, but I'm like, if you want to sit there and say, oh yeah, that was a banger soundtrack, like I know I like First Contact and Generations soundtrack, but like other than that, I'm kind of like, I don't know, they all kind of blend together. Like, not that they're not good, it's just not that I can't discern, like, I mean, some of the classic like Star Trek 2 and 3 and 4 tracks, if you played any of them for me, it would be like, I'd be like, oh, that's Star Trek 2. You'd be like, no, that's Star Trek 6 actually. But I'm like, yeah, that one.
Yeah, well, hey, music, soundtracks isn't for everyone. Wrath of Khan one. Obviously, everybody, most people in the comments are probably going to go, "Oh yeah, Wrath of Khan is the best of the best." But I'm going to go off track, and I'm going to say First Contact.
I mean, that is one of the more memorable ones for me. First Contact had a great soundtrack.
Yeah, and I was so enthralled when they used it as the intro and extra for Picard season 3. Obviously, now that we look back at it, it was also one of the biggest clues as to what was coming.
Except for the subtitles, that was the biggest clue. Like, did you hear about?
Yeah, I didn't have. Yeah, I did hear about it, but I didn't have subtitles turned on, so because I can understand English. So, and I'm not deaf, so
yeah,
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that was kind of a spoiler. The kind of a whoops on Paramount's part.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I'm glad we got closure on the Borg. I would take season 3 of Picard's Borg as long as we get the closure of Picard, like of the Borg. You know what I mean? Like
it was final closure, and I think it's fitting that the D, which introduced us to the Borg, also finally wiped them out, as far as we're aware in it, at least.
I still think in that final episode, I still think that each person, like not each individual person, but like a couple people should have taken a couple different ships. Worf should have taken the Defiant. Seven should have taken Voyager.
Yeah, I've heard that, but Picard season 3 was the Next Generation story. It wasn't Star Trek in general. It was the Next Generation story, and it was a final, well-deserved send-off for the. Yeah, well-deserved send-off for the D. It wasn't the Defiant, the DS9 story. It wasn't the Voyager story. It was the Next Generation.
Even though the founders were in there.
Yes, indeed. But so they did get some mention in there. They did, but I don't know. It would have been cool to see a little fleet of geriatric ships going in. That would have been cool. But I think it was done well enough.
Yeah. As I said, it would have been cool, but you're right. I mean, it was kind of, I think it would have kind of trounced on the Next Generation final mission feel. Like, if you had Worf flying the Defiant in there and Seven flying Voyager in there, and, just other, like, it gave it that the Enterprise D versus the Borg one last time feel. You know, like
Yeah, I think that's what they were shooting for, and if it is, they succeeded. I'm happy that we only see the D. Finally, also, so many naysayers saying the Galaxy class was a failed design because we see so many of them destroyed. We only see 3 of them, and they all in exceptional circumstances. And finally, this one comes in and kicks Borg butt. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm actually not a huge fan. I wouldn't say that the Galaxy class was a failed ship design, but I wouldn't necessarily say I like it.
Hey, you don't have to like it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I already got crucified on here for saying that I don't like the Connie class. So,
hey, I'm not the fondest fan, or especially of the original, because it looks so dated now. But she's a classic. She started the universe off, and she was the best of the best at the time.
And you give it respect. I mean, you can always give it respect and it not be your favorite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, indeed. Even the Klingons respected it. Well, apart from the one that was antagonizing Scotty and calling it a garbage scow.
Well, we all know he was just jelly.
Yes, absolutely.
He was jealous of her ample nacelles.
if you pardon in engineering parlance. I love that. I do love Peg's Scotty. It's one of the bright parts of JJ universe.
Question in the chat, left field question: any hypothesis on what the unknown threat that the Borg Queen is now guarding the gate against in the Picard series?
They left that a bit vague, if I remember correctly.
And obviously, it didn't destroy the entire galaxy or whatever, because
no,
we're in the 32nd century now, and
it's all a bit wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. So,
I mean, maybe species 8472, maybe the shadows from the Babylon 5 universe, maybe
that would be a nice crossover. That would be interesting. The shadows just come flying out of that whole whatever anomaly, whatever you want to call it. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Put Starfleet on the back foot for a moment or two.
That's what we can talk. We can talk about Babylon 5. I can talk about Babylon 5.
I have no hypothesis for it. It never even entered my mind what it was. It's just I accept it as it's some great threat, and the Borg Queen is guarding the gate for us.
Girardi. See, that would have the Girardi Borg, Borgati, whatever they call them. That would have been something really cool to visit in the 32nd century if the Girardi Borg were still around. I've always said that. I've always everyone's like, oh, we don't need the Borg again, but I'm like, yeah, but there's still the Girardi Borg, and I'm like, I kind of would like to see where that went. But there were a lot of things in the 32nd century that I kind of wanted to see where they went.
I want to see where the Klingons were at.
I want to see where the Ferengi were at.
Well, we saw what was supposedly a Ferengi.
Well, no,
in stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we saw I'm talking about Ferenginar, like the.
Right, yeah, that would have been cool. But when you've only got like 10 episodes,
yeah, I know.
There's not much you can do. So unfortunately, the new format of series is it kind of stifles that kind of creativity in that case. But yeah, it would have been nice to at least have some sort of like a passing comment. Would have been cool. I mean, what happened when Rom? We all know that Rom became Nagus and started making reforms. Did they become benevolent? It was the Ferenginar benevolency rather than the what did you call it? The analog of the US.
The Ferengi. It wasn't the Confederacy. What is the?
No, Ferengi.
I mean, it was called the Ferengi Alliance, but I don't know what else.
I think it was a Ferengi Alliance. Yeah.
But it's not an alliance. It's only the Ferengi. Like, that's what I love about it. It's like, it's basically false advertisements. Like, welcome to the Ferengi Alliance. Population us. Like, there's no other race in the Ferengi quote unquote alliance. As far as we know, at least.
Yeah. Stephen brings up a very good point. Yeah, we never see the Galaxy class at its doing what it should do. It was designed for deep space missions. That's why families were on board. That's why it had so much room, so you didn't get cabin fever, and it had the best of the best technology at the time. And the tech manual says it's got 10 years of deuterium on board, and it can generate its own antimatter. So it can effectively fly 5 years in a direction and explore deep space and then come back.
That would have been fun.
That would have been cool if we had if the next generation took on a little bit of the Voyager kind of plot, not getting lost, but going out into deep space and seeing all sorts of new stuff. That I think that would have been interesting to see that.
Yeah,
a proper space exploration show.
I would love for them to actually show a map though, like a map of where they're going. You know what I mean? Like, I know they don't ever want to tie down. I know they don't ever want to tie down their canon with a map, but it's like, God, I love seeing maps. Like Lord of the Rings. Like Lord of the Rings did it so well in The Hobbit because they're like, like Tolkien went, look, this is my world. We work in it. You know what I mean? But like with the Federation, like with Star Trek, it's like there's so many different components. It's like if you do put it down, there are maps, but they're all fan made. I don't think there's ever been. I don't think there's ever been an official map, like an official release by Paramount of even a Federation map, like not even like a galaxy wide map. Like I think the only one you ever had was in like the technical manuals or what are they called? The encyclopedias.
Yeah, and even then, it doesn't show any features.
All it shows is this big blue round thing is the Federation. This red little thing is the Klingon Empire. This red or this green round thing is Romulans.
Something like that. Yeah. Brian, the designer did say that the Galaxy class was supposed to have like a shopping mall on the Star Drive. If you look at any pictures, there are little round portholes roughly just before the neck and the Star Drive join. Little round portholes that go they're quite huge on the ship. That's supposed to be one big massive mall on that deck. It's never fleshed out though. We never see it.
Neither they didn't cetacean ops. They didn't.
No,
they never fleshed that out either. I never saw dolphin.
No, it gets mentioned. We get twice, I'm sure. I think.
Although some people say that the only reason why they call it cetaceans is just because it's underwater because of cooling issues or something like that.
No. She actually does say, "Have you seen the dolphins?"
Oh, does she?
The theory being, cetaceans like whales and dolphins are very good at navigating in a 3D sphere. Navigating 3D space, 3-dimensional. So learning from, I don't exactly know how the data gets fed into the computer, but they apparently help with the long distance navigation and stuff like that. They even on Rick Sternbach's blueprints, they even have their own dedicated escape pods, which
they did not. They didn't have them on the Enterprise E. The Enterprise E was made to truck.
Yeah, the Sovereign class was designed to fight the Borg, which is why when she enters the battle in First Contact, she shrugs off the Borg weapons at first.
Yeah, but so are the Akaran and the Steamrunner and the Saber. Like a lot of those ships were designed like post Wolf 359. Post Wolf 359, they really changed the way that they were building ships, and I don't blame them. You know what I mean? Like I don't blame them for changing it up because the Borg were a threat, and then the Dominion too. Obviously the Dominion came later than the Borg, but still.
Indeed, but it did mean that we've got a whole bunch of ships that we developed to fight the Borg. and the Dominion aren't as tough as the Borg. So, we did see Akira classes in the fleet battles. In the distance, you see some steam runners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you don't see any Norways or Sabres.
No. Yeah.
Oh, that's an idea. That's an idea. The unknown threat is Squire Trelane. He's come back. His mother has let him loose.
I always thought it should have been Q, because the whole season was based around Q anyway.
Well, season 2, yeah.
Yeah, that's what the unknown threat was.
Actually, that's where it's in. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh. Indeed.
But
no.
I think in season 2, my only issue with season 2 is they tried to do too many things, like the Girardi Borg, Q, I lost my train of thought, but I think they were just trying to do too much. I think if they would have taken, I really feel like they screwed. I think Q, I almost wanted them to do like a Q, like where he gets turned mortal again, and he has to kind of go along for the adventure rather than him just, because he's quote unquote dying. His powers were kind of glitching out and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Who knows? But
and Trelane probably was a Q, or at least a subspecies of the Q or something.
Yeah, I would go with that. I mean, although his powers were apparently afforded by technology, and once that technology was damaged, he had no powers and he was recalled. But that could be a gimmick. That could be him just pretending to have a weakness, for example. Who knows? But we do know
that's
that
part of the game. He made that weakness so that they could find it.
I don't believe it's the same Q that we encounter in Next Generation, but
no.
I'm fairly. I would be comfortable in saying that Trelane was a Q. Yes, I agree with that.
Nope, I agree. I don't know. I think I've only seen that episode with Trelane once, so.
Yes, Squire of Gothos. I've seen it a couple of times. It's one of the better episodes, I find. It's quite fun. And of course, isn't that the same guy who eventually plays one of the Klingons?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
The actor?
Yeah.
Kor? No, he doesn't play Kor. That's John Colicos. Anyway, he plays a Klingon eventually.
I thought he played a Klingon of some sort. I don't remember.
It was Kor.
Zombie Trek begins with the rise of James R. Kirk. No, I think the rise of Sam Kirk coming back.
Ooh.
Zombie Sam Kirk.
Well, yeah, we see him die on screen. Well, we see his corpse at least.
Zombie.
Oh my goodness! Imagine zombies that can beam in from wherever they want. So they don't have to shamble along anymore. And of course, if the ship is it has a hull breach, they will be preserved in the vacuum of space, so they won't rot. Interesting concept.
Mm-hmm. Zombies. Sam Kirk's mustache keeps growing even after death. So Sam Kirk's come back. He's got like this big, long, like bushy, like Sam Elliott mustache.
From Family Guy. Have you seen him in Family Guy?
No, I don't watch Family Guy.
Yeah, he plays after Adam West died. Spoilers. Adam West played the mayor of Quahog, which is where Family Guy is based. So they needed to come up with someone new, and they got what's his face to come in, Sam Elliott to come in, and his mustache is alive, and he has a little mustache farm.
That reminds me of that Bugs Bunny episode where that big red hairy thing like keeps running like that's what you said that, and that episode of Looney
Yosemite
Tunes.
Sam? Is it Yosemite Sam?
No.
That has
There was
the
an
big-
actual episode where this guy. Oh, you're right. Yosemite Sam does have a big mustache, but like, no, there's an episode of Looney Tunes where Bugs Bunny's like going after this guy, and he's like big and he's red and he's like all hairy and he kind of looks like Cousin It with arms and legs, and he's angry. It's really, you have to look it up. It's really freaky. Listen, Looney Tunes, I think, ruined my childhood because.
Some people would say Looney Tunes made their childhood.
Made my childhood freaky. And it made me want to cross-dress, apparently, since Bugs Bunny did it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of... I must admit, looking back at it, some of my favorite cartoons as a kid, I now look at them and I'm like, they were dickheads. Like Tom and Jerry. Loved Tom and Jerry. Jerry was an asshole. More often than not, Tom is just minding his own business. Jerry creates calamity, and Tom is always the one that gets the blame.
Tom's just doing his job.
Yeah.
Trying to keep the vermin out.
Indeed. But hey, it's for kids. You're not supposed to give it an adult critique.
Bugs Bunny was a mad scientist enforcer that Bugs ran afoul of. And then apparently Gossamer is the big red Looney Tunes thing.
I'll have to have a look at that.
I don't know why. It just popped in my head when you were talking about his mustache being alive and just...
That's fair enough. I mean, my mind sometimes links subjects together in very, very weird ways.
Yeah.
We could be talking about and something goes off in my head and I start talking about Z or Z, as you Americans call it.
Yeah, so yeah. We say Z here in the Americas because America.
Mm-hmm. Just so it rhymes with V for the
zombie
song.
tribbles.
Zombie tribbles. I'm fairly certain someone did that. Someone also did Borgified tribbles.
I mean, that's a way that they could build an army rather quickly of Borg, is Tribble Borg.
Yeah. Although the reproductive system stops, if I remember correctly, once you're Borgified.
Oh man, they don't like to smash. We are the Borg. We will smash your hot ones. Prepare to be boarded.
All they need to do basically is just let them reproduce for let's say a day, and then you've got an army, and then assimilate the whole lot. Just spray the room full of nanites. Let them Borg nanites. Let them do their job. And then you've got this veritable army of Borg tribble.
Be like, I am 7 of 9 of Tertiary Junction 001. Prepare for my nanites. Susan Oliver from TOS. I do not. Is that the character's name or the actress's name?
Yeah, who's that?
This is a test. There's actually not a Susan Oliver. They're trying to see if we're paying attention or not.
Yeah. But hey, that's an interesting thought. I mean, there's a lot of classical music in Looney Tunes.
Oh, she was the Orion slave girl.
Ah.
As well as From the Cage.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, Daniel Vance just said the Cage. I was say I'm looking at her, I'm like, what's that scene from? Oh, that's from the Cage. Duh.
All right. So we now that we've been reminded of her, why do you bring her up, Brian?
Because were
they talking about her?
They're going to. Could you imagine them assimilating an Orion? Those pheromones.
Dang.
I mean, that's probably why Data wanted to smash the Queen. Like he was like, they gave him a biological olfactory system, and then the Borg Queen was she was originally an Orion, maybe. Ooh.
That would be interesting.
Now we're getting into fanfic here. I mean, this can go south very quick.
I mean, hey, the reason why we're here is because of fan fiction.
This is true.
Ultimately. So, hey, fan fiction is not off the table here. I don't have a problem talking fan fiction.
You know what? Okay, let's talk about fan fiction really quick. What is your favorite ship couple that you wish they would have done?
Ship couple.
Like, sorry, American term. Like, putting.
Ship
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know if you didn't know what it was. You say that here.
I don't know really. I think I would have liked to see more between Crusher and Picard. I'd like to have seen that go a bit better, but instead she went for a ghost.
After 7 seasons, no less. She got sick of waiting for good old Jean-Luc.
I mean, we do know that they hooked up eventually. Mm-hmm. Spoilers. But I would have liked to have seen that. That might have been interesting. So like a family ties, but the Picards.
Yeah.
Yours?
Bashir and Garrick all the way. I mean, they should have just gone in on it. I mean, that's exactly how they were playing it.
Well, yeah, but he went. Yeah, I think that definitely was a bit of a bromance going on there. But ultimately, I don't think they swung that way.
But they did with Dax, at least in one episode.
Well, yeah. Fair enough. I mean, at the end, he gets together with Ezri.
That's true. Yeah. Poor Garrick. What?
He goes home.
Yeah.
What are you saying, poor Garrick? He gets what he wants. He goes home.
Yeah. I don't think Garrick ever really wanted. I don't know. I mean, I guess he always wanted to go home. I guess, but he really hit it well. I don't know. You know what I think was the worst couple? Kira and Odo. I don't know why that couple just did not work for
me. Although it did offer some really nice friction.
That's only just because they're like two really alpha personality types.
Yeah, I'm talking more about once the female changeling comes on board and starts pulling Odo away, and he just doesn't care for solids because he's in the link all the time, and it obviously severely strains their relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, it always felt a bit strange to me. But I'm not one to judge who likes whom,
Ezri was a little hottie with a naughty body. Oh, okay. I didn't mind Ezri. I think Ezri
was cute.
I think Ezri got a lot of flack that she didn't deserve. I'm glad that people didn't hate on her just because of she wasn't, Terry Farrell, right? Am I saying that right?
This isn't the Star Wars fandom, so.
Yeah, this isn't the Star Wars fandom. So, but yeah, I'm glad but I know that her character was not super well received, but we know years later that, it was behind the scenes things that it's not like they got rid of her because they wanted to pull a 7 of 9 and Cass. They just contract negotiations broke down and
yeah. Apparently Rick Berman was a bit of a chauvinistic dog.
Who would have thought the guy who put everybody in all the women, like all the attractive women in cat suits is a chauvinistic.
Apparently she didn't get on with him very well and made outrageous demands to make sure that her contract wasn't renewed, essentially.
Yeah, well.
So they needed the Dax character for one more season. So yeah. But I did see a little bit of the hate for Ezri at the time, saying, "Oh, that's not Jadzia Dax. It's not the real Dax." Blah blah blah. I always just told him, "Chill. She's super cute."
I just didn't like the fact that she was a counselor. It's like, what? Like, oh, we need a counselor on the station. It's like, eh.
I liked the idea though that she was super out of her depth.
Yeah, this is true. She was.
and she was learning as she went. I did like this, and she wasn't a flawless character. She had problems, and we get to see her home and stuff like that. I thought it was quite a good character.
I thought they did pretty well with what they had, and I think that the actress did well with what she had to deal with too. With coming in like this, and especially in the 7th season, it's like they already. I think they knew that they were ending at the 7th season when they started, right?
I'm fairly certain they knew that was I think at that point 7 seasons was pretty much the standard. So I'm fairly certain. I mean, it looked very planned. It wasn't as hurried as, say, Enterprise, for example. So it seems that they knew the 7th season was the last and planned it out right. But they couldn't just have Dax just suddenly disappear and not be in. I mean, they could have killed off the Dax symbiont as well as Jadzia. But with that,
I like Terry Farrell's idea. Like she said, basically, give me a command of a ship, and because they're losing so many people, like they give her a command of a ship, and she goes off and is fighting in the war, and comes back. She said she would do like every, like she would do a part-time schedule, so she would come back every now and then. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, she said she wanted to come back part-time,
cool.
But when they would, that's why Berman said absolutely not. And so
Berman's the he kept Trek going for a while, but he's also the reason why it stagnated. Because he stifled creativity so much. I've seen the designs of ships and aliens and stuff like that, and he just and every week he'd say, "No, just take last week's ship of the week, turn it upside down, paint it green, presto, you've got another alien race." Instead of, and at this point it's all CGI as well. In Voyager, so that they could have built a new asset fairly quickly. So with according to the designs that John Eves was pumping out, but nah, he wasn't for that. He just didn't like the creativity, apparently.
Yeah. Rick B says Terry Farrell is so hot, and I'm gonna take that point and flip it on its head though. See, here's the thing: is that, and that actually is proof in the pudding that a character is hot because of the way she is, not because of the way she looks. Because Terry Farrell always had a uniform on, and granted, those uniforms were fine, but they weren't exactly like the cat suits. So it's like you could have put 7 of 9 in a uniform. You could have put you could have put Kira in a uniform. You could have put T'Pol in a uniform, and they still would have rocked it, because Terry Farrell proved that it doesn't matter how tight the clothes are. If you have a good character who's got just that insinuating, what's the word I'm looking, like that exuding confidence like Dax had, people are going to love them.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I like to look at a good-looking woman like any hot-blooded heterosexual male, but I wouldn't base my like or dislike of a character just on whether they looked hot or not.
Yeah,
I'm not that superficial, and I agree with you. Jerry Ryan bringing her in for a 7 of 9, that was purely to make the male audience go ooh.
But I do agree that Kessa's character kind of stagnated. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of, I watched Voyager again this past year, and I was like, I kind of agree with the decision to write Kess off, or at least making her part-time. Like just because at that point, because really she was stagnant. I mean, after the whole, like, what was it? The whole where she like traveled through time backwards thing.
Oh yeah, but
like after that, it's like I don't think they could have done anything else with her. You know what I mean? Like I just felt like they did. I mean, they could have maybe if they wrote her right, but like between her and Neelix, they really didn't put much writing potential behind Cass.
Did I read somewhere also that Jennifer Lien, who played Cass, was getting a little bit more difficult to deal with on sets?
Well, it might be, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard that, but that doesn't mean I. you know. But Rick B, so Rick B says nothing wrong with sexy women. You are correct, but when they're just being exploited for their sexiness, that's where I have the problem. Is
Correct.
You know, when you just think that 7 of 9 is just a pair of boobs in a tight outfit, where you know she proved throughout that entire show. Look, Voyager is not my favorite Star Trek. It's nowhere near my favorite Star Trek. But I have to say, Jerry Ryan rocked her character, not her outfit, her character. Between her, you know, like they gave her the screen time and she ran with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh yes, Brian's right. Oh, go ahead. That one.
Drugs. Yeah, drugs. Just a question there. Another left field question. Has anyone ever explained why Starfleet vessels seem to be aerodynamic when they operate in a vacuum? It's just a design aesthetic.
And I don't think I'd ever say that the Constitution class is aerodynamic.
No,
like,
exactly. I mean, why do Starfleet vessels always, more invariably anyway, have a star drive, a saucer section, and nacelles on pylons? It's just a design aesthetic, you know. That's so you can tell, oh, that's Starfleet. You know, you can tell a Klingon ship from afar, if it's in the far distance on screen, because it has a distinctive shape. Same with the Cardassians. It's a very genius thing that they did. They designed all these aliens to have their own distinct design aesthetic. If you saw a big bird-looking thing with a big beak, you knew it was a Romulan ship, for example. You know, and Starfleet ships leaned towards the more aerodynamic, sleek look.
I mean, they probably were just like the designers were just like, let's make stuff that looks cool, and they just
absolutely, and that was cool at the time. And also, the Enterprise E was designed for the 16:9 format, so it had to be long and sleek.
Enterprise D like it.
Yep, Enterprise D was designed for the 4:3 format.
Practical reasons. They made ships much slimmer after they discovered that frequent warp travels harm subspace. I don't think. I honestly don't think that was it.
That was all to do with the damage the warp coils did. Is basically the way the warp coils generate the warp bubble. That was it was basically folding space, warping space. Hence why it's called warp speed, and that was doing the damage. It wasn't to do with the ship's shape.
And a lot of people theorize, this is headcanon, but a lot of people theorize that's why Voyager had the nacelles that rotated up when they warped.
Variable warp geometry.
They never like no other ships ever had those. So you can't really say that. Unless Voyager was an experiment.
Yes.
And then they just, instead of making all the ships like their warp nacelles go up like that, maybe they just
that's the general gist of it. The Intrepid class used the flappy warp nacelles for the variable warp geometry to help lessen the damage, and then they came up with better technology, and which is why
just implement it so they didn't have to do the floppy.
Exactly, which is why it annoys me that Star Trek Online has the Voyager J, right, with the negative space nacelles, which still tilt upwards when it wants to go into warp, because they have no imagination. Oh, well, the original Voyager did that, so the new one has to do that as well. No.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, that's kind of the headcanon of it, and I mean that's fine. Like, if headcanon doesn't break canon, I'm okay with headcanon.
Yeah,
like
I'm sure I've read it somewhere that's exactly what it is.
I don't know if that's ever been confirmed canon wise though.
Probably not. I think it's probably in a tech manual or something like that. Which
maybe. Yeah. If anyone knows out there in YouTube land, let us know if it's in a tech manual somewhere.
I do remember reading something of that ilk though. So as far as I'm concerned, I agree with you. That's my headcanon as well.
Dana
theorizing is indeed fun.
Yeah. Voyager J is an ugly ship in my opinion. I mean, yeah, a lot of Discovery era ships, I think they tried too hard to make them look futuristic.
I would like the Voyager J, although I don't agree with it having negative space. I do like the overall design. If they just had it all together in one coherent ship, I think it would look better. I certainly don't like the Eisenberg class. It's just a lump with some nacelles thrown on it. And then there's another one which basically looks like a giant U, letter U, no nacelles whatsoever. And you see that in spoilers in the fleet scene of the last episode of Discovery. You see several of them. It's like they took some molten plastic and threw it into a bucket of water, and whatever shape was created, okay, that's our new design. I just don't like it. But the Voyager J is the least objectionable design for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the USS Nog looked like. Was that one of the ones that had like a big iceberg, or is that?
Yeah, basically, it's a big iceberg with two tiny nacelles negatively attached to it, roughly midway down. It doesn't look anything Starfleet. I'm guessing it's possibly maybe a bought-in ship design, maybe, because Starfleet at that point, their resources are slim. They probably don't have their own shipyards, so that's why they've got alien designs. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the Voyager J was the last true Starfleet design before the burn burned everything.
The burn. The burns of where? Well, I don't know, but yeah. All right, all the people over on NerdTube, you guys got to settle down. Zam is not going to do a live stream from his shower. Y'all need to settle down. Settle down, Rick B. Daniel.
I need some mind bleach. that is an image I do not need in my head. No offense to Zam, but that's just no.
Well,
what? Yes.
Let's
talk about Battlestar for a minute. I think the Battlestar were a nice blend of aesthetics, somewhat laminar look, yet clunky looking as well. Yeah. The original one and the newer one, the Ronald D. Moore Galactica, both look pretty good. What do you think?
I haven't seen very much of Battlestar Galactica. I know of it. My dad used to watch
you've seen
tons of the original. Huh?
I'm sure you've seen pictures.
Oh yeah. No. That's what I'm trying to think. I'm like, Battlestar Galactica always gave me more of like a Wing Commander vibe, where it's like, everything's just kind of like functional. Well, it's not sleek. Yeah. Like, I can appreciate
your Battlestar vibe.
Huh?
Wing Commander came after Battlestar, so.
Yeah, no, I know it did, but I'm just saying, like, that's what it reminds me of.
I get you. Everything's functional. It's like space above and beyond as well. It's all functional. Nothing's out there for beautification.
Yeah, you basically don't have a mall on the ships, like some fat starships out there.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Star Trek has the luxury, has the space cruisers. The cruise ships in space.
Yeah,
Battlestar, Wing Commander, Space Above and Beyond, and such. They're more functional.
Like everything has a purpose, like a functional purpose, not just a convenience purpose. Indeed. I mean, look, when you're Starfleet and you can make ships like that where there is no needs or wants, and you're in the Federation, like fine, go for it. But like obviously in the universes of Battlestar and Wing Commander and all those other franchises and universes, like they don't have all those niceties. Like they don't, the world, the galaxy is in turmoil during those, like, so they don't have time for niceties. They have function. And I guarantee you, if the Klingon Federation war did not go as well, in the 2200, in the 22s, I guarantee you that the Federation would have been on the back foot, and they would have not had in the 23rd century, they would have not had, what do I think? Or the 24th century, they would have not had like for niceties, like yesterday's Enterprise, like, the war between the Klingons and the Federation. And honest and truly, I really feel like the Enterprise should have changed a lot. Like the Enterprise looked the same. I really feel like the Enterprise should have been more of a sleek design, more like actually the Ambassador class, something smaller, a little bit more sleek. Because of the Federation Klingon war, something more functional rather than, trying to play off this space cruise liner as a battleship.
Yeah. It didn't make sense to me at the end of the day, when we see yesterday's Enterprise, they have to reuse the sets that they've got. They can't come up with a completely new filming model and everything like that. But yeah, it would make more sense that it would be more compact. It would be it would have more of a functional look to it, because you're just trying to churn out ships that can hold their own and just go for it. Although it is kind of explained it's big because it has so many troops on board. It's designed to go to a star system, apparently, and just throw troops onto a planet and orbital barrage and stuff like that. That's apparently why it's still a space liner.
It's still the fat one?
It's still the fat one, yes. But yeah, I get your meaning. It would have been nice to have if they had the budget to come up with a slightly different design, like you say, sleeker.
Yeah, a little bit more functional, a little bit more, give it the big Enterprise X, the Enterprise X class or the Galaxy X class, the big phaser on the bottom. Give it the MFR phaser.
Absolutely.
It's got nothing on Spaceball 1. That's correct. It does have nothing on Spaceball 1.
It's just like the Ares class that Alec came up with. It's a battleship. Rack 'em, stack 'em, pack 'em. It's not got many luxuries, and that's what he told me. He says this is a battleship. It's got a lot of crew to keep all the systems running, and you have shifts, so you have to have double or triple the amount of people on board that the systems actually need, also to account for battle losses. So when I did the deck plans for it, that's what it is. There's very little luxury on there.
Well, that's what I loved about the Defiant and the Enterprise, like NX-01. Very practical, very practical.
Absolutely. Yep, I loved how Archer had to duck in his ready room. He's got his own little room, because even in World War II, captains and admirals had their own day cabins very close to the bridge, usually right behind the bridge. So why wouldn't why wouldn't they have that on a spaceship? We never see it in Kirk's time or on the original Enterprise, but possibly because they just didn't think about it at the time, when they developed the show.
I think that's more of a product of the time, because Picard had his.
Yeah, I think because Picard had his, because I'm guessing the idea was how do we make sure that everybody knows that this Enterprise is bigger and more luxurious than before? Picard has his own office right off the side of the bridge. Fair enough. Apparently that settee that you see him sit on every so often, apparently that pulls out and makes a bed. There's a picture somewhere where it's half pulled out, it actually disappears into the wall. They never.
Long nights at the office. When Beverly makes some house calls.
Computer, lock the door.
Beverly comes in. Picard's like, "What's the sheet for?" "I'm gonna make you a ghost."
"What's the spray paint for?" "I like green ghosts."
I like green ghosts. When they could have just replicated a green sheet, Yeah, carpet. Yeah, that the Enterprise D was absolutely the pinnacle of just luxurious like carpeted walls. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Hey, that was luxury back in the 80s. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's how you said, check me out. I've got carpets on my walls. You know, I do like the design aesthetic of the Galaxy class interior as well. I've always said that if I had the money, I wouldn't put carpets on the walls. If I had the money, you know, if I won huge amounts in the lottery, you know, and I would get Herman Zimmerman or someone close to him to say, right, I'm getting my own house built, and the bottom floor or the middle floor, whatever, is going to be the geek floor. I want it to look like the interior of the Enterprise D. Go. You know, that's what I'd do, because I love I know the corridors are actually from the Enterprise A. Well, the refit Constitution, and they've just redressed them. But I love that kind of hexagonal look to them.
Well, and it makes more sense when you're designing, because I mean, technically, like the ship was sleek and it was, you know, it was not flat. Like it's not like it was this and then this. Like you had to have a bit of an angle going up, you know, on the outside hallways of the ship. So I mean, why not make them all that way to make them uniform? You know?
Yeah, it's also the design with the walls coming down like that. It gives you room to hide all the plumbing.
Yeah.
And the wiring and stuff like that. And on some of the walls, those panels actually hide storage lockers. We see that in NX-01 as well. You know, the corridor panels, they can open them up, and there's stuff that you can get at behind them. I like that. I like
sandwiches. We need sandwiches in those.
We need sandwiches, definitely. I'm fairly certain freeze-dried sandwiches would probably go down better than some of the ration meals that they were talking about. In what's that episode?
Was it the one where they were stuck in the shuttle pod?
Yeah, what's it called again?
I don't remember. It did.
But yeah, they're bemoaning the rations.
Well, I do like, as I said, I do like the design of the interior of the D, like you said. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad the E went the way it went, though. Like when they did the E.
The E's interior is lovely as well. It's really nice. I mean, the bridge is a little bit darker. That's fair enough. It's designed for a movie. I do like the different levels on it. How it's got all levels going on. I liked the refit Enterprise D bridge as well, because it had the wing stations. So you had a platforming going on there as well. But the E took it even further. So it's an interesting interior as well.
I like it. I mean, Frank Parker Jr. has a bridge set that he built himself that I really like, but it's very like condensed and very, you know, and very functional. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like big and gaudy like, you know, the Connie, because let's be real, like the Connie class bridge for the time was pretty like big and gaudy. You know what I mean? Like, and then the D took it even further.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you think about the command centers of Earthbound ships at the time, you know, especially naval ships, they're quite compact, and there's not much room in them. Even on the supercarriers, you know, in the bridge, you're still having to, you know, people were still having to suck their gut in to let the captain pass and whatnot.
Well, and I mean, the bigger you make it, the bigger the target is for the bridge.
Yeah, indeed. So when the Enterprise was first seen in the 60s, it's like, oh, look at this spacious command center. You know?
And then, and then Enterprise D took it even further, you know?
Then the Enterprise D just turned it to 11. And then the Enterprise E it looks bigger, but I think it's roughly about the same size. It's just got more going on.
Which one?
The Enterprise E.
Oh. You really think it's that? I always thought it was more condensed. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was about the same size.
I think it's got roughly the same footprint, give or take a few inches, as the Enterprise D. It's just got more going on, so it looks a little bit more compact.
Okay. Maybe the captain's chair is just not as big.
Doesn't squeak like on the Enterprise A though. Squeak, 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 squeak. I miss my old chair. Captain's chairs. What's your favorite captain's chair?
Oh,
If you had to, if someone said, right, you can take one home, which one would it be? Oh, decisions.
Probably would have to be. I don't know. It might be the E. I don't know. Maybe Enterprise NX-01. Like, I'm not going for comfort. I'm going for like what would like my favorite. Like, I love Archer's command chair. It's just like it. His command chair looks like it's not made to be comfortable in. It's made to command in. You know what I mean? Like, because Archer's always up. If you ever notice watching, Archer's always up and moving. Like he's always up and like whenever he goes to talk to his people, he gets up and walks around the bridge a lot. Whereas Patrick Stewart, when he would,
doesn't that get explained in one episode? It's always not quite fit him.
Yeah, so, it doesn't. Yeah, he says in one episode,
and Trip spends the entire episode obsessing over it.
Yeah, trying to figure out how to make it more.
And he figured out it was just slightly too high or too low, something like that. But no, I like your thinking on that. Yeah, I do like the NX-01 command chair. It's quite nice. But mine is a toss-up between the Enterprise E, the red leather. It's quite nice.
Ooh, yeah, it is quite nice.
My car's got red leather, so maybe I'm a little bit biased on that. But I do like the Enterprise D's central command chair.
It just reminds me of a 80s Chevrolet or something like that. I don't know.
It has unfortunately not aged too well. So I would think the Enterprise E's just clinches it for me.
Yeah.
It's also the pedestal that it's on is also you can't really see it, but it's also lit. It's got louvers and there's a light behind them.
Nice. Gotta light up the captain.
And he presses a button in one of the deleted scenes of Nemesis. He presses a button and this.
Oh yeah, the seatbelt.
The 4-point harness comes out and he says it's about time.
Michael Sean Carter. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go on. Go.
Michael Sean Carter says NCC 1701. No bloody A or B or C or D. Or you can probably say it better than I can in the Scottish accent.
No bloody A, B, C or D.
Or D.
Or you got to trill that R.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a classic. My friend's actually making one. It's taken him forever to make it, but he's making one because he's always wanted one. So he's making it. He has nowhere to store it, so that's probably.
So one day we're going to come back here and you're going to be sitting in a captain's chair while on stream.
Yep. He's also got a soundboard and everything, so the buttons and everything will do things.
Nice.
We've already made the jokes. Well, will the same button do 12 different functions? He's like, yeah. Let's see. Look at the comments. What have we got here? What's Jonas saying? Galaxy class has a different command style where you compare the command chair layouts to the Constitution class. Well, yeah, because the Constitution class and all the ships that we saw until the next generation had one central command chair. Spock was always off on his science station, even all through the TOS movies. He's always got his own station somewhere around the bridge. There's on Next Generation they decide the XO and someone else, usually the counselor, gets their own seat as well. Okay, it's a bit of a different style.
I never got the counselor being on the bridge. I know it's because they wanted to have Maria Sirtis on the bridge. Since Crusher wasn't going to be on the bridge and Deanna was supposed to be kind of the eye candy, they wanted her up there on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I can say about Voyager. At least they didn't try to shove 7 of 9 down your throat by putting her on the bridge all the time.
Yeah, she was mostly down in engineering or in her cargo bay.
Or in astrometrics once they built that,
or in astrometrics once that came online. Yeah. And I like how Voyager only had the two seats. A lot of people hate that the captain's chair isn't central. I don't mind. They're next to
No.
each.
I mean,
It's
if there's
fine.
3 seats, yes, and the captain should be central. But like, if there's 2
Yeah.
seats, then putting it.
It would have looked odd having the captain's chair central and then Chakotay's off to the side.
Yeah.
It would have looked odd. Starfleet ships are generally symmetrical.
Yeah.
Almost
No,
always
I agree with
symmetrical. So and that goes down to the bridge as well. It's almost always symmetrical. So that's why having the 2 chairs off center is fine for me.
I mean, they should have just added another chair for Neelix so he could be on the bridge all the time.
And annoy more people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did invite himself on the bridge a few times anyway. So I've just started watching Voyager again from the beginning, and I think it's like episode 5, 4, 3, 4, or 5, where they go into the cloud, and he just pops up suddenly serving canapes. It's like as
Sturtis,
the morale officer. Go.
I was just gonna say it's Sturtis. I was just gonna read the comment. Sturtis is a Greek Brit. Did some topless work. Oh. I think that ruins. Yeah. I think that ruins the spectacle of it though, because like like I that's why I don't search out stuff like that. Like if I see them in a movie that I'm happy to be watching, okay, fine. But like I don't go and find like nude work of anyone. Like I know Scarlett Johansson. Like she's she's my babe. Like all time favorite babe. But and I know she's done nude work. People have told me, but I have never gone and searched it out because I don't want to ruin that spectacle. Yeah. Like I don't.
Yeah. I don't need to. I don't need to see that. I mean, and I don't judge her either.
No. 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 It's her body. She does if she wants to do like a part that includes top. I mean, people get topless in real life, so movies can be about real life when things happen, like sex scenes, topless scenes, everything like that. Like it's not, and if a story, as long as they're not cramming it into a story, as long as it's organically in a story, I don't think they should shy away from it. But at the same time, don't shove sex down our throats either.
Yeah, exactly. Does Ares have a joystick? Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I am a fan of a good joystick. I'm not gonna lie. So
that is a cringe moment in Insurrection.
I actually don't mind it. The fact that it's there, I think it's a cringe moment that they do it. Yes. Like the way they do it. Like, why is Riker the one using the like? I think that the way they went about it was very cringe. Now, like, if like the navigation was, if the navigation was knocked out and, and like that, like that's like the analog like way to like do. I don't know, like you can make up some reason why. Then I guess it would.
Yeah, they could have done.
But like the way they went about it was like, oh, I gotta. This is gonna take precision. Get out the joystick. Give me the manual controls.
Yeah. If you needed precision, why don't you? You should have the joystick always. Then, if the joystick gives you more precision, then you should always have the joystick. Yep. In that case, because you're flying around in several million metric tons of starship. And especially if you're going through an asteroid field, for example, if you need precision, then why is the joystick not always there?
Did the NX have a joystick, Hell? I don't.
The NX had. Yep. You see Travis every so often scoot to the side and pick and take it, put his hand on it. So I like that, but that's because it's a very primitive ship in terms of what we'd seen before in Star Trek lore. So it's still got physical buttons instead of even though they were basically door stoppers, I think, with text on them. Actually, there were kitchen cabinet rubber stoppers. The things that the self-adhesive squares that you stick onto your kitchen cabinets to stop them banging. Mm-hmm. That's what they were. They just bought a metric shitload of them. Started sticking them onto panels.
Right.
But it did have a joystick. You see Mayweather use it quite a few times. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, you're right. Now that you say that, I do remember. It's kind of, it is kind of off to the side, like, because he does slide around quite a bit up there, if I remember right, doesn't he? He does. It's
He does
it's a
slide
pretty
around a
large
bit.
panel.
Yeah. Indeed, apparently his seat is on a track, so it goes left and right.
I think Paris had one.
I was just drawing breath to say that, literally. His seat is on a track as well. Supposedly, but I think it's in real life. I think his seat just had wheels. So but no, it's the whole joystick coming out of the floor, and it was just a cringe moment. I'm like,
it just felt very forced. Like, whereas with Mayweather, it's like it felt natural. Like I didn't even hardly remember it, only because and I've seen Enterprise many times.
There you go. Yeah,
but it more felt natural for that.
Indeed, because he's tipping away, and then he just quickly shifts to the right, and then puts his hand on the joystick and does what he needs to do. That's fine, and you see him when he does when they're going into the Expanse, and they do the big massive loop to get behind Duras. You see him, and you actually see him pull back on the joystick. He says, "Hold on."
Oh, go ahead. That's a bit of fan service that I always thought was like, that's the one thing Enterprise didn't do very well, is that some fan service they did in their show, like bringing the Durases back. It's like, okay, the Durases are not the only evil Klingons in the Klingon Empire. You know what I mean? Like
indeed, you could have made. I think it would have been better if it was Kang, Koloth, or Kor, or the father thereof, one of them.
Yeah, it would have been more of a deep cut.
Would have been, and it would have made more sense timeline wise as well.
Yeah. The only way to steer starships is from a Marmantime wheel appropriately placed on the bridge lounge. Yes, that is how you steer the ship. Yeah, that's what I want. All I want is that an insurrection. All of a sudden, like this big Marmantime wheel, like just comes out of the floor, and then here goes Jonathan Frakes steering on a thing.
Hardest port. And he's he's wheeling it like that guy from in Star Trek 4. Ding ling ling. He's like, ooh.
Yeah, right.
that wheel had so much travel. I mean, no way would a ship's wheel take that long to turn. But hey,
I'm pretty sure it didn't have. It wasn't attached to anything. That's why he kept on spinning it.
Exactly. Yeah, indeed. I think that the bridge on top of that on top of that deck house was fake for the film.
Go full Captain Harlock. I think Voyager had the strangest episode with Paris. Why do you spell Paris with Pyrrhus? Like P-A-R. Paris and Janeway developing into salamander. Like de-evolving into salamanders. I mean, we could do
again.
Brian, be careful what you wish for. We could sit here for a whole another hour talking about cringe episodes of Star Trek. I mean,
the cringiest episode for me is the singing episode.
Really? I look. I don't think it was fantastic. But I don't think it was terrible.
The most egregious part of it for me was the Klingons. If this thing is making you sing, the Klingons would be guttural and operatic. Because that's what the Klingon music is. They wouldn't jump into K-pop high-pitched voices. So that took me completely out of the universe for me. I'm like off.
Yeah, and I agree. Like there were some things in that episode that didn't make any sense. Like even if you were forced, let's say you were forced to sing, why are you dancing? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
indeed, it makes no sense. Absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Like you can sit there and they can sing and talking, but like the whole dancing and choreograph and like that makes no sense. Like the only way I could see it is if Q was making them do it or some other alien entity was making them doing it. But I don't think they would do all that on their own accord if they're being just forced to sing.
No, they would just talk to each other by singing.
Yes.
Because it wasn't a singing and dancing bug.
Yeah, it was everything just, and I mean, even that was pretty weak. It was a fun episode in that aspect for me, but I see people's issues with it where it was like, you're really stretching on this one.
I have never come so close to actually switching off an episode I mean, now that I've seen some episodes from Next Generation and everything, there's some episodes that I'll skip because I don't really anything with Luxana Troy in it. Generally, I find insufferable, so I just skip them.
Really, I love
Yeah.
Luoxana. I think. I mean, there are some cringe moments. I agree with you, but I still love Luoxana. I think her best stuff was with Odo, though.
Yes, but never seeing an episode for the first time ever have I become so close to actually turning it off as I had with Subspace Rhapsody. It just didn't. It wasn't required for me. Wasn't required. But that's some people love it. That's fine. Cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I loved it. But
yeah, no, I'm not saying you like, but I've seen so many people saying, "Oh, I love that episode." One, that's fine. You can have your own opinion. You can be wrong, but you can have your own opinion.
singing, dancing, telepathic choreography episode. I mean,
yes.
Listen, that would have been more believable if an alien entity that was feeding telepathic choreography to them. That would have been more, that would like a Oh, what was the kid's name in TOS that kind of made people do things? What was his name? Not Charlie X. What?
What's Charlie?
Was it Charlie?
Yeah, was it Charlie
X?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but I mean that's more believable. As I said, just some subspace thing that's just making people sing and all of a sudden choreograph dance. It's like, there were too many holes there for me to suspend my belief.
A Q can make you do it as well, because look at what happened when what's her face learns she's a Q,
and
she has the hots for Riker. She just snaps her finger, and he goes into this whole rigmarole of how he loves her and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So if a Q can make you do that, a Q can make you dance. And if they had some sort of Squire of Gothos like character, step in and actually make them dance and everything, I would probably find that episode a little bit more acceptable. But otherwise, it was fan service because these other shows have had a musical episode. We need to have one.
Oh, hey, all of these people on this show can sing, so let's make a singing episode.
It's like, that's one episode I'm never going to watch ever again, ever.
I have not. I have not gone back and rewatched any like straight through any seasons of Star Trek yet. I started on Discovery because I'm like, okay, now that Discovery's ending, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch, from season, like right before season 5 was going to begin. I was gonna go back and watch season 1 to season 4 and then watch season 5, when it ended. And I just never got through season 1. Like I tried to, and I just couldn't do it. I turned on Enterprise. Not gonna lie, that's what I did.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure what I'll do is when the next season of A Strange New Worlds come out, I'll watch the previous episodes just to remind myself.
You can skip Subspace Rhapsody because I'm pretty sure the only thing that happens in that episode is
they sing and dance.
Well, and I think it has just to do with really the only like overarching thing is really Spock and Chapel in that episode. Like that's the only overarching thing I think that really happens. And honestly, that whole fiasco was just terrible with Chapel and Spock.
That's what tells me that it is a mirror universe. It is an alternate universe because you had a little hint that maybe Chapel liked Spock in the original series. You had that. She always had that little smile for him,
But there's no inkling of there's any kind of even quick relationship.
Yeah, indeed. So the fact that they're having that it's happening. Spoilers. That it's happening with Strange New World tells me this is an alternate universe. It's skewed off.
Well, and that's what I've always said is that technically, what I've always said is that there's a First Contact timeline. When the Enterprise E went back in First Contact and then it split, I actually consider like from First Contact then to Enterprise that we see, and then Disco, and then and then from not Disco, the Kelvin timeline then splits off from the First Contact timeline, and then but the First Contact timeline continues to Enterprise and then Disco seasons 1 and 2 and then Strange New Worlds. Like that's my headcanon. As I said, because it's so different, and that's okay. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
it
for me,
doesn't.
for me,
Go
the
ahead.
Kelvinverse splits off the second the Narada attacks the Kelvin.
But that was technically before. Wasn't that
that's before First Contact and everything?
No. That was before Disco, right? So that's why I
Yes.
say Enterprise happened, and then because the Enterprise was before, so that's why I technically say that Disco or that Kelvin splits off from. No, I mean it could still split off from the Prime timeline, but it doesn't matter. We could get into timey-wimey stuff.
It's in between Enterprise and TOS when it happens, because Kirk is just being born, and as we know, spoilers, his dad dies, so he hasn't got that person to look up to and inspire him to join Starfleet. So
I guess his dad is still alive in Strange New World, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know. Is it mentioned?
Yeah, I think it is. I think him and Sam are talking about his dad, who is
yeah,
in one of the episodes. So technically, yeah, it would be.
Strange New Worlds is. I think it's his own timeline.
Well, I know that Kelvin's its own timeline. I'm just trying to figure out if Kelvin splits from Prime timeline or if Kelvin splits from First Contact timeline. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. But I think it would have to split from the Prime timeline, because in Strange New Worlds, Kirk's dad is alive.
Yes.
So.
And
I'm fine with Disco and Strange New Worlds being visual reboots. Here's my thing about it also is that I don't mind like the changed aesthetics. I mean, we're not going to make a bridge. We're not going to make a ship bridge from the 1960s just to
it would look ridiculous.
Yeah, in Strange New Worlds. Like, I get it for fan films. We're on a limited budget. It works. It works with fan films. But like when you're doing an actual like production, and you have a budget and everything like that, I feel like Strange New Worlds has done a great job at honoring the 60s as well as updating it and not really going too crazy. I think Disco went a little crazy with their bridge designs.
Yeah, their bridges are huge, abnormally huge. I liked the idea of the Shenzhou, I think. Shenzhou. The bridges on the bottom of the saucer. That was a nice idea. No, that hadn't been done before. I'm like, kudos to that. But again, it's enormous, and they're having to shout orders and stuff like that. It's just impractically large. But yeah, I don't have a problem with the new aesthetics either, because fan films are designed for a niche of fans who really like that, who really dig it. The studios need to make something that's going to appeal to a wider audience, and no one's going to, if they're channel surfing, for example, or they're saying, "Oh, let's watch this. This is new," and it looks like directly something out of the '60s. They're going to go, "What is this shit?" So like I've got a phone that's smaller than that, than that device. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
Jonas Kloss says Kelvin did split off because Enterprise went back in time. Kelvin did split off because the Enterprise went back in time after the Borg, everything after First Contact. No, and that's what I'm saying is that there is a there's three timelines in my opinion, in my headcanon. There's three timelines. There's the Prime, the First Contact, and the Kelvin. I'm just trying to figure out, because the Kelvin timeline technically branched off. I was trying to figure out if it branched off from the Prime or if it branched off from the First Contact timeline. Because technically, First Contact timeline was in existence. We just didn't really talk about it when the 2009 reboot happened. But in order for that to be, because the events that set the Kelvin timeline in motion was Spock in the Prime timeline going back, and the Narada going back in time to before Kirk was born, like right before. And so I don't know. As I said, it doesn't. I mean, I consider there are 3 timelines. I guess it doesn't matter where they split from, but
yeah, my head's beginning to hurt trying to figure that out.
I know, right?
It is what it is.
What I want to know is where's the Honka Honka Bird and Love timeline from the Avalon universe? That's what I want to know. I think they could have done so much better with Disco and Strange New Worlds in terms of visual closeness. Battlestar Galactica looked beautiful too. And nobody denies that, the fact that Disco could, like, I think they did. I think they swang for the fences too much with Disco originally. I really feel like they did. They tried to make it look too different, and but it's just the same thing can be said about the 2009 reboots, is because they made them look like Apple stores, and the engineering sections look like breweries. Oh wait, that's because they were filming.
That's because they are, yes.
But
the
still,
corridors again look like an extension of an Apple factory.
Yeah.
White or the overall white. You can tell that J.J. Abrams has an iPhone.
Kind of okay with communicators being the size of cell phones, though. If someone says, well, that's hardly advanced, you can say, can you transmit directly to the moon with yours? This is true. This is true.
Fair enough.
I mean, how far do communications go, though? I mean, on a ship, yes, but like I did when when they're on an away mission, they can just tap the comm badge and talk to the ship. So
yeah,
but how far away does that go without an actual communication device?
Yeah, we've seen in episodes that they've contacted the ship when the ship's not even in the same system.
With their comm badge, though, or do they have
with
to
their
use some
comm badges? With their comm badges.
Okay.
In Voyager, for example, we see that where they leave Chakotay and Janeway on that planet because they've contracted that thing, and the atmosphere of that planet is
keeping them alive.
Is keeping them alive. The ship is at warp for a good couple of days before they lose communication.
This is true. But did they have any boosters or anything?
We don't see any. We don't see anything, and they don't leave anything. They don't say that they've left a communication buoy in orbit or something like that. I'm fairly certain. I remember seeing someone flip open a communicator and talk to a ship that's not in orbit either. I can't remember where I'm remembering that from. Might be the 2009 films. I don't know.
Well, I mean, in 2009, you can basic transwarp beam from Earth to Kronos or wherever they were. Like, yeah. Physics in the Kelvin universe, I don't really count as physics.
As with anything, the technology is as good or as bad as the writers need it to be.
I do believe you're right, though, about the communication buoy in orbit. I think there was some kind of booster that was letting them stay in contact for a while.
It's possible, but it's not mentioned as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
They just talk about they will be out of range at such and such a time, and we'll get in touch at that point. But
the Hobus star goes up in all 3. What's a Hobus star? The Hooby Stank star?
Yeah, I have no idea what the Hobus star is. You mean the Romulan star?
Yeah, Romulus? I think Brian left us. He gave us a time check like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, he did. So, I think we should wrap it up at this point. I mean, the conversation's been electric, and it's been fantastic, and I love the audience tonight and all their getting involved. But I think at this point, it's 25 past 1 in the morning for me, so I think it's time for me to hit it on the head. But hey, any last words?
No, just great conversation tonight, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, I love chat-driven conversations. I mean, those are always my favorite. Because everybody, there's just such a community about like good Trekkies. There's always such good discussion when people can have respectful discussions and disagreements, but you can like discuss it. You don't have to go all crazy about it. Brian Simpson's here, or Simpson's here. He's like sitting there like looking at his watch going, yeah, I'm still here. I'm watching you. I'm billing you for this time.
We will make next time 25 minutes shorter. There you go.
Well, if Jefferson's here, we will definitely be 25
Oh yeah,
minutes.
see, that's the reason why we've ran over. Jefferson's not here to crack the whip. But yeah, like you, I love conversation-driven streams. So you've been fantastic tonight in the comments, and we will look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully, maybe with more than just the two of us. I don't know. I think we're doing just fine with just the two of us. We'll just change the name and just usurp command.
Alex and Cheeto After Dark.
Oh yeah, let's do that. I'll get on. Hey, I do the card graphics, so I can do that. In fact, I might do that for next week and see if anybody notices.
Just change it every couple episodes. We'll just keep changing the name of the stream, just
until someone notices and goes, "Hey." Yeah, Brian has a 2-hour minimum charge. Okay, billers. Send your...
Wait, so 2-hour minimum. So that means we have another 35 minutes to go. But because
yeah,
no matter what, he charges us for 2 hours.
Yep, we'll give you Alex's address so you can bill him. PO box. I don't give a damn. 1701 is the zip code.
1701.
Give Alec half a chance, and if he could choose his own zip code, he would go for 1701. Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening, or if you're further afield like myself, have a good night. And we will see you again soon. Now let's see if I can get this going this time. Live long and prosper.